Alright, block to line ratio. The size of the fiber block is designated by the length of the inches of the shelf of the cheek of the side of the wire rope with the block of the control of the diameter of the rope. The same special purpose of the wire rope blocks the side of the found with the measuring diameter of 1 with the sheath in inches. Sheath of the carrot selecting with the proper side of the wire. Block sheath of the fiber line reeved on the tackle shown below with the minimum diameter lines to be dissolved with the color the necessary with the wire rope sleeve. Too large for the sheath tends to pinch the damaged sheath. They also wire of the damage if it becomes too short. The radius for the bend the wire rope is small. The sheath lacks the necessary preparing surface. Put the strain on the only from few strands to shorten the length of the wire when the fiber length of the block is about 3 times the circumference of the line. However, the inches either not measured. For example, 3-inch line may be reeved onto an 8-inch block with no ill effects. As you rule, me more than likely to know the block side of the sheath diameter. However, the sheath diameter should be about twice the side of the circumference line used. When rope manufacturers issue the table to give it the proper sheath diameter, the use of the various type of the sheath, the wire of the manufacturer absence of the rule of thumb is that the sheath diameter is about 20 times the diameter of the wire. Remember, the wire rope is the diameter rather than circumference. The rules refer to the diameter of the sheath rather than the side of the block with the line. Block safety. Safety item when using the block and the tackle is as follows. Always stress safety with the hoisting and moving of the heavy objects around the personal block and tackle. Always check for the condition of the block and sheath before you use the job to make sure that it's safe for the working or shit. See if the blocks are properly greased. Always make the line with the sheath with the right side of the job. Remember, the sheath and drums have been become warm or chipped. The guy irrigated, but must be not used to cover the injury of the line. Always find out whether or not you have the mechanical advantage of the amount of the blocks to make the load easily to handle and possible. You must not use the wire rope sheath to the block design with the fiber line. They are not strong enough for the type of the surface. Use the wire rope not properly sheath the grooves. Likely sheath the blocks so we built when the wire rope should never be used for fiber line. Or a chain hoist provide convention with the efficient method of the hoisting in hand under the particular circumstances and achieve the advantage of the chain hoist, but the load can be stationary without requiring the attention from the hoist. Can be operated one man to raise the load with the weight of several tons, slowly lifting treble the choice hoist, chain hoist, permitting the small movement and accurate adjustment of height and general handling with the loads. Ratchet handle pull hoist is a even and short horizontal pull heavy object. Chain hoist is different with the mechanical advantage depending on the rated capacity. The general type of the chain hoist are vertical operation, the spur hoist gear, the differential chain hoist, and screw gear hoist. Screw gear hoist figure 1346 view A, most satisfactory ordinary operation type of the hoist, 85% efficient. The different chain hoist figure 13 view 46 view B is only about 35% efficient. Occupational use with the light loads. The screw gear hoist is about 50% efficient. Satisfactory, less frequent use than the hoist is required. Chain hoists are usually stamped with the load with the capacity shelf of the upper block chain with the arch constructed with the lower hook with the weakest part of the last. Some of it done with the precaution with the lower hook will overload before the chain hoist is overloaded. Lower hook will start the spread under the indication approach of the overload limit under the ordinary circumstances with the pull exerted with the chain hoist on 1 to 2 people will not overload the hoist. Alright, chain hoists should be inspected before using each of the evidence spreading of the hook. The excessive is sufficient to require replacement of the hook with the length of the chain with its sword to indicate the chain hoist and being heavily overloaded, properly unsafe for the further use. Under such circumstance, the chain hoist should be condemned before using permanent.
Did you get your meds?
Our chain hoist should be inspected for each of the evidence spreading with a hook of excess with associating require replacement of the hooks and links for the chain restored to indicate if the chain hoist has heavily overloaded, properly unsafe further use. Under such circumstances, chain hoist should be condemned before you permanently mounted chain hoist should be ensured that the annual certification is current. Or winches, vehicular-mounted winches, engine-driven winches, are sometimes in conjunction with the tackle with the shifting, hoisting, placing the power with the operator with the hoisting equipment. You consider the 2 points. The first, you must consider the angle of the ground for the hoisting line, making the drum hoist. Angle is sometimes referred to the ground angle, shown in figure 1347. The second, considered as the fleet angle hoisting line with the window drum, is shown figure 1246 shows the spur gear chain hoist. B. Differential change hoist and 1347 vehicle winch used for hoisting. Leading block ground angle correct. Leading block ground angle incorrect. 1348 fleet angle of the winch. 1348 for the distance for the drum of the sheath, for the controlling factor for the of the fleet angle of the where.
Sorry, I laid the keys on the counter so you get the key to get the mailbox.
All right.
Where will they down?
Okay. When you're using vehicle mounted When you're using vehicle-mounted winch, the vehicle should be placed in position where the permit of the operative of the watch the load being hoisted the winch for the drum. Winch must be efficient, effectively pull exerted with the bear drum. The winch is rated with the capacity rating and applied with the first labor of the cable of the wound out onto the drum. The winch capacity is reduced each labor of the cable with the wound out the drum of the chain for the leverage of the resulting increased diameter of the drum. The capacity of the winch may be reduced as much as 50%, and the last layer is being wound onto the drum. Or the ground angle. If the hoisting leave the drum angle with the upper of the ground, the resulting pull of the TEM off lifted off the ground. In case the leading must be placed in the system some to the distance drum, the chain of the direction of hoisting horizontal down or pull. Hoisting should be overwound or underwound on the drum when it be necessary to avoid reverse bend. Fleet angle of the drum. The winch is placed in line with the last blocking passing with the center of the drum, the right angle of the axis of the drum, the angle between the line and hoisting and wind the drum. Can call the fleet angle with the hoist line with it wound onto the drum, and then move the one flange to the other, so the fleet angle during the hoisting profit, the fleet angle permitted with the 2 degrees should be kept below as the 1.5 degrees maximal satisfactory obtained with the distance from the drum for achieve the 40 inches of each for the drum center of the drum flange of the drum, and the hoist greater load distance in placing the winch. Rigging safety operation procedures. All personnel involved with the rigging gear should be thoroughly instructed and trained to comply with the following practices. The wire rope slings must not be for loads that exceed rated capacities. Ensure enclosure to the Compensate Check 3rd Navy Control Battalion Instruction 11-211. Slings not included insured must ensure the accordingly manufacturer recommendation. Determine the weight of the load before attempting any lift. 3. Select the sling with a sufficient capacity rating. 4. Examine all hardware equipment tackle sling before use of them. Destroy all defective components. 5. Use the proper hitch. 6. Guide loads with the tagline practical. 7. When using multiple slings, leg slings, select the longest sling practical to reduce stress on the individual sling legs. 8. Attach the sling legs securely. Load. 9. Pad and protect any sharp corners on the edge of the sling make contact with preventing shafting. 10. Keep the sling free of clinks and loops and twists. 11. Keep the hands and fingers between the sling and load. To avoid placing shock on the loads and slings, you should start to lift slowly. 13. Keep the slings well lubricated to prevent corrosion. 14. Do not pull the slings under the load when the load is resting on the block. Slings block the load up to remove the slings. Or figure 1349, loading shifting when lifted. 15. Do not shorten the sling knotting with the wire ropes. 16. Do not inspect the wire rope slinging pace, passing bare hands over the rope. Broken wires is present with the cover serious injury. Practical leather palm gloves should be worn when working with wire rope slings. 17. Center balance. Stability of the load. Important rigging process. Stability of the load is center of the balance load directly and below the hook. Figure 1349 of the load. The suspended always the shift the position below the rig stability to establish the center of the balance. So once you have done the simple swing hook over center balance, selecting length of the sling need of the look of the lifting point of the load. Figure 1349 shows the loading shift when loaded. 18. When using multiple bridge loads, sling, do not forget the long assumed 3-4 leg switch hitch for the safety lift to load equal safety load. 1 leg multiply by the number of legs. 4-legged bridle swing lifting of the rigid load with a possible 2 legs support. Practical full load while only 2 balancers shown. Figure 1350. No, if all the multiple leg slings are not required, secure the main legs out of the way as shown. Figure 1351. 1350 shows multiple leg bridle slings lifting a load, balancing legs and load carrying legs. 1351 says secure sling legs that are not used. Chapter 14, Miscellaneous Equipment.